now the epicenter of this national argument over illegal immigration thanks to the state's new law that is the toughest in the nation. The Obama administration is suing Alabama, along with Arizona and South Carolina, claiming the states have overstepped their authority to regulate immigration, traditionally considered a federal matter. But Alabama has a tougher fight, much closer to home, and now Kate Snow continues her reporting.
Since Alabama's strict new immigration law took effect, some farm workers have pitched in for one last harvest. Others are already gone, leaving behind rotting crops and desperate farmers. Farmers who are giving an earful to the legislators who voted for the law.
No farm workers, which is costing the farmer. Dead crops, spoiling crops is costing the farmer.
We need anyone that will listen that we are starving right now.
The new law has pitted natural allies against each other. In the southeast corner of Alabama, we talked with 4 farmers, Amy and Lee Fitch, Jerry Danford, and Todd Shelley, who have all seen the exodus of their workers.
How many of you voted Republican in the last presidential election?
I did.
I would consider myself a Republican and normally vote that way.
How many of you have ever voted for a Democratic president? Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton.
And Republican Governor Robert Bentley, who signed the immigration law,
Did you vote for him?
Yeah, I voted for him.
How do you feel about that vote now, Jerry?
Bad. Real bad. It was an honest mistake, but, I feel bad over it.
One of the strongest veins of opposition to this law are Republicans, people who voted for you, farmers.
That's right.
this is Governor Bentley's first national TV interview on the immigration law.
Die-hard Republicans say this is the worst law that they've seen in a long time. It's going to destroy their business.
If they are using illegal workers right now, will it hurt them? Possibly. Especially this first year or maybe the second year, but eventually it will not hurt them because we will get back to doing things the right way.
As the governor sees it, the flight of undocumented immigrant workers will put a dent in the state's nearly 10% unemployment rate. When they leave, the theory goes, legal residents will take their place. But all the farmers can see is a future without anyone to pick their crops.
I probably can't find anybody else, so that would be it.
What do you mean that would be it?
No more watermelons. Not on my farm, or Lee's farm.
But here's the counter-argument. If you paid more, if your hourly wage was higher, you could get Americans to do this work. Jerry?
I doubt it. Regardless of what you offered them, within reason and what you know, they wouldn't put in the long hours. If they will find me a pool of labor, I will hire them. I'll do that.
You just don't think that exists?
That don't exist.
That's exactly what Ellen Jenkins discovered when she brought Americans to work at her farm after the Mexicans left. They just couldn't take the long hours of hard physical labor. Most stayed a day or two. Only one lasted a few weeks before he quit.
I'd like to play you a clip of a tomato farmer, if it's okay, that we met yesterday. We asked her directly, what would she say to the governor?
I just asked him, why couldn't he at least come and see what it was all about before he, jumped the gun, before he signed a bill and destroy people's lives? Why them, You see, anybody else that can come up here and work 14 hours a day and do this kind of work, I want to see them.
What would you say to her?
I mean, I really do feel sorry for farmers, but here again, she understands that she is hiring people who are not legal.
She's afraid her business is going to go under.
And I understand that. I understand, and I feel sorry for her and her business. I really do. But we are working, trying to fit workers with jobs, and we're going to continue to do that. We eventually will be able to find workers that will do this job.
It's not just agriculture. A new forecast out of the University of Alabama estimates the law will cost the state economy at least $40 million. Workers are fleeing construction companies rebuilding from last spring's tornadoes. And Latinos, both undocumented and legal residents, are abandoning Hispanic neighborhoods and businesses. The undocumented immigrant population in Alabama was never huge, only 2.5%. Yet as their numbers grew over the past decade, so did anti-immigrant sentiment.
This law is popular. More than 60% support
Oh,
the
absolutely.
law.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question.
Historian Wayne Flint of Auburn University is the author of 9 books about Alabama's history.
Anti-immigration is probably as popular a political issue as you can find in Alabama. I would remind you, however, that being against the federal government's immigration policies in 1963 was equally popular.
Are you equating those two things?
I am equating those two. This is just mean-spirited. This is finding the most vulnerable people within a society. People can't vote. Most of them are women and children. They have no political power. And so, in a sense, it's like the blacks in 1963 who could not vote in Alabama.
The Sanchez's agree they feel like Alabama blacks of the Jim Crow era. And as in 1963, Alabama and the federal government are at odds over a racially charged issue.
The woman who owns this bakery, she said the men who did this are racist. She was talking about you, sir.
Well, I am certainly not racist. I am not racist. In fact, that's insulting to anyone think that I would be racist. I love everyone.
The governor says Alabama had to pass its law because the federal government wasn't enforcing its own laws on immigration.
Can you understand, sir, how this looks to people outside of Alabama? People think about Alabama and they think about the past, unfortunately.
Well, but they shouldn't link it. In the 50s and 60s, the federal government was trying to get Alabama to obey the Constitution. They were right, and we were wrong in the South. They were trying to get us to obey the law. Today, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the federal government to obey the law. So it's just the opposite.
The day after the immigration law took effect, the Sanchez's daughter tried to carry on as she normally would, boarding the bus for school. From the bus, she sent us a text message saying that the driver had snapped, "You're Mexicans. You're going to have to leave." Maria and Jose Sanchez were trying to get over the shock as we walked through their neighborhood, already abandoned by many residents.
I don't know where to go. What's going to follow this?
What are you going to do? Do you know? ¿Qué van a hacer?
We don't know. We just know we're going to go, but we have no idea where. One day, I'll be back with my papers. I promise it. If I came in through the back door before, I'll come in through the front door next time.
But for the Sanchez family and others who came to this country illegally, that may be an unrealistic dream. And many won't even try to return.
Some of them said that if Alabama didn't want them, then they're taking their whole family. They made it perfectly clear. We won't be back. And I believe them.
Kate Snow, we said at the top of the evening this was getting ugly, and it is. And let's all agree that farming is some of the hardest, most backbreaking, honest work in this country. And let's just cut to the economics of it. Aside from the human toll, am I correct in guessing that when more crops end up on the ground rotting, and perhaps prices are affected and availability, that then more attention will be focused on it?
Perhaps, and in the short term, that's certainly true. The people in northern Alabama who love those Chandler Mountain tomatoes, they can't get those at the farmer's market right now. They're getting Tennessee tomatoes instead. However, the farmers did say to us that they will adjust. They'll have to. They'll probably have to plant more row crops coming in the spring because a lot of this law starts to really take effect come January 1st. The employment provisions, which, by the way, say that not only can you not hire someone who doesn't have proper documentation, but you have to check every one of your existing employees. If you have more than one employee, you have to check your staff. If you want to hire your mother, you've got to check her paperwork and make sure through this E-Verify system, a verification system, that she's legit.
And more on the web of all those interviews you conducted.
Including the governor, who spoke with us at length, his first television interview on the subject. So there's a lot more of that on our
Powerful
website.
piece of work, Kate Snow. Thanks for coming back. A bit later.